So what's my question is that in a particular yesterday's program we have written driver manager dot get connection, right? This get connection is a method which is present in driver manager, you can say. How can you know that thing? Just open this particular Java piece page, java dot sql dot driver manager. So driver manager is a class or a particular interface? It's a class. So you know that it's a class, right? By seeing this particular thing. Okay. Now in this class, get connection method is there. Like 3 parameters are there, and the return type is a connection. So I have to know that return type is connection or not. So it's connection. And the second thing, it's a static. Static means what? Depends on class names or driver manager. We can use that to call that particular method. Now the return type is connection means what is connection we have to see. So Java p space java dot sql dot connection I'm calling. ఇక్కడ కనెక్షన్ కాల్ చేసినప్పుడు ఇంటర్ఫేసా క్లాసా ఇంటర్ఫేస్ రైట్ నౌ ఇన్ జావా కెన్ యూ క్రియేట్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఫర్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ఆర్ నాట్
No.
నో రైట్ సో ఇక్కడ కనెక్షన్లో ఉన్నది ఏంటిది మళ్ళా ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ కానప్పుడు ఏ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ కనెక్షన్లో ఉంటుంది దట్స్ మై క్వశ్చన్ టు నో దట్ థింగ్ యూ కెన్ డూ వన్ థింగ్ after establishing the connection just try to print it. So what you're trying to say, con means what this object will contain. The object contains hash code. You have to know that object contains the hash code. So what is hash code? You can say hash code is a address of that memory block. Means a memory block will be the rate. For that memory block, this hash code is the address, you can say. Okay, and how the hash code represents is nothing but the class name will be there, whatever the class object is there. Along with that class name, a unique sequence will be there. Okay, that unique sequence is nothing but indicates the location of that particular memory. Means whenever object is pointing to a memory block, ఆ memory block ఒక లొకేషన్ ని ఈ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అనేది పాయింట్ చేస్తుందని చెప్పొచ్చు. ఓకే, సో if I print this particular con, what's happening we have to see. Just go for that particular E drive cd space java sk java c space database connection dot java, right? Now java space database connection, if I run this thing, ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందంటే మనం ఏదైతే డేటాబేస్ కనెక్షన్కి యూజ్ చేసిన పర్టికులర్ యూఆర్ఎల్ ఉందో ఆ యూఆర్ఎల్లో ఒక పర్టికులర్ థిన్ డ్రైవర్ ఉంది, రైట్? అండ్ వాట్ ఈస్ థిన్ డ్రైవర్? విచ్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ డ్రైవర్ ఇట్ ఈస్? టైప్ 1, టైప్ 2, టైప్ 3 ఆర్ టైప్ 4? సో ఇట్స్ ఎ టైప్ 4 oracle driver, you can say, right? మీన్స్ మనం ఏ టైప్ ఆఫ్ అయితే డ్రైవర్ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నామో ఆ టైప్ ఆఫ్ డ్రైవర్ క్లాస్ ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ జనరేట్ అవుతుంది, దట్ ఈస్ టైప్ 4. సో ఇక్కడ మీకు ఏమొస్తుందంటే T4C కనెక్షన్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అనేది జనరేట్ అవుతుంది. ఇట్స్ సేయింగ్ యూజర్ నేమ్ పాస్వర్డ్ ఈజ్ ఇన్వాలిడ్. వై? బికాస్ వీ హ్యావ్ రిమూవ్డ్ ది మేనేజర్ హియర్, రైట్? సో what you can say, this connection established, Oracle is the main package, JDBC is the sub package, driver is the sub package. దాంట్లో T4C కనెక్షన్ ఒక క్లాస్ ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అనేది జనరేట్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, జనరల్గా మనం ఇది ఆల్రెడీ చూసాం, లైక్ ఇన్ ది ఫ్యాక్టరీ మెథడ్. ఎస్, అప్కాస్టింగ్ అంటే సూపర్ క్లాస్ రిఫరెన్స్ కెన్ స్టోర్ ఆల్ ద పర్టిక్యులర్ సబ్ క్లాస్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్. ఎలా అయితే కార్ అనే అబ్స్ట్రాక్ట్ క్లాస్ సూపర్ క్లాస్ రెఫరెన్స్లో మనం సబ్ క్లాస్ ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ స్టోర్ చేస్తున్నామో ఇక్కడ కూడా అంతే. ఏంటంటే ఈ పర్టికులర్ కనెక్షన్లో కనెక్షన్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఉండదు, అంటే ఏ పర్టికులర్ రెఫరెన్స్ లో అయినా సరే ఆ పర్టికులర్ క్లాస్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ కాకుండా సబ్ క్లాస్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ ఉంటాయి. అది అబ్స్ట్రాక్ట్ క్లాస్ అండ్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ అవుతేనే, అదే క్లాస్ అవుతే ఆ క్లాస్ ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ జనరేట్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, సో హియర్ యాజ్ వీఆర్ యూజింగ్ ది టైప్ ఆఫ్ కనెక్షన్, T4C కనెక్షన్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అనేది జనరేట్ అవుతుంది. క్లియరా? సో ఎనీ డౌట్స్ ఇన్ దిస్ థింగ్? నౌ ఈ కనెక్షన్ లైక్ T4C కనెక్షన్ ఉంది కదా, ఈ కనెక్షన్
ఒక చిన్న డౌట్, ఇది ఆబ్జెక్టా లేకపోతే రిఫరెన్స్ అని నాకు అర్థం కావట్లేదు. అంటే ఇది మొత్తం మళ్ళీ ఇంకో మెమరీలో క్రియేట్ అయిపోతుందా?
ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందంటే లైక్ జస్ట్ షో యూ వన్ థింగ్, we need a memory, right? That reference, whatever it might be, object or reference is doing the same task actually. ఇప్పుడు క్లారిటీ ఎలా వస్తుందంటే మీకు ఇక్కడ కాన్ అనేది ఉంది. ఈ కాన్ అనేది మెమరీ బ్లాక్ ని పాయింట్ చేస్తుంది అన్నాం. మెమరీ బ్లాక్ ని పాయింట్ చేస్తుందంటే సమ్ లొకేషన్ మస్ట్ బి దేర్, రైట్? ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్ యూఆర్ స్టేయింగ్ ఎట్ యువర్ హోమ్, ఎవ్రీవన్ స్టేస్ ఎట్ హోమ్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్, రైట్? సో అలా అన్నప్పుడు ఆ హోమ్కి ఒక అడ్రస్ ఉంటుంది కదా, ఆ మెమరీకి కూడా ఒక అడ్రస్ ఉంటుంది కదా, అదే T4C కనెక్షన్ అని చెప్తున్నాను.
ఓకే.
ఎట్ ద రేట్ యూనిక్ సీక్వెన్స్, ఎందుకంటే ఆ యూనిక్ సీక్వెన్స్ అనేది ఆ లొకేషన్ యొక్క మొత్తం నేమ్ చెప్తుంది అనమాట. AC3SB ఏదో ఒక యూనిక్ సీక్వెన్స్ అని తీసుకోవచ్చు మనం, రైట్? అండర్స్టూడ్?
యా.
సో this con is pointing to this memory block. Whatever is happening, it's happening inside this memory. సో ఇక్కడ ఒక మెమరీ ఉంది మనకి. ఈ మెమరీలో కనెక్షన్ సంబంధించిన ఏ పర్టికులర్ మెథడ్ అయినా కాల్ చేయొచ్చు, ఎందుకంటే ఇది కనెక్షన్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ కదా. ఓకే, సో హియర్ this particular thing is there, right? So now I'll just use one more thing. ఇప్పుడు మనం జస్ట్ కనెక్టివిటీ చేసామన్నమాట, అంటే జావా అప్లికేషన్ నుంచి ఈ పర్టికులర్ డేటాబేస్. వాట్ ఈస్ డేటాబేస్? యూ కెన్ సే here all programs. In that all programs you have Oracle database 10G Express edition. Click on run SQL command line, right? So once you connect here, like I'm connecting to that particular database, we have, like suppose every time you have to connect to the database first. System directly you can say connect, it will ask for the username. So there's a username, manager is not visible, it's a password. When you give, it will be connected, right? In the same way you can use the second way of like connecting is nothing but system manager. So whatever the username and password I am using is related to this database. Okay, and the next thing, I want to send a command. What command means, suppose I'm creating a table here, create table like employee some 25 I'm saying. Okay, so there's an emp25 table which consists of an id. That id is nothing but contains number, that number of 10. That number is nothing but like an integer, it works in Oracle. And we have a name, that name is nothing but varchar. Okay, varchar or varchar2 both you can take, and I can take some characters here, varchar2 of 20, and one more thing, salary will be there. So salary of some number 10. Okay, so here varchar2 is like a string and number is like an integer in Java. So if you are using a string value, you have to use varchar2. If you are using a integer, you have to use number. And why varchar2 means it stores up to 4000 characters. varchar2 allows 4000 characters. Okay, and here salary is again number. This number 10 is nothing but the number of digits you can say which are used in that particular table. Okay, like in that column how many digits I can use, that has been mentioned. Now next thing, in this table I don't have any columns, sorry, I don't have any rows. Like I just created the table. To describe the table, to see the structure, we can use the describe emp25. So we got that particular emp25, right? Now after the emp25, like after describing it, if you want to say select the particular rows, we have a select command saying that select star from emp25. I hope you know what is SQL, because these are the basic commands which are required for the SQL database. Okay, now select star from emp25. I'm saying just say enter. So what's it saying? No rows selected here, because there are no rows inside this particular table. Now I want to send a row. I can do it here using the insert command directly, but I want to do it from the Java application. Means a Java program is trying to send a command like insert command to the database. So how to use the insert command? Means we need a method, right? So for that we have to use three things will be there. One is statement interface, second is prepared statement interface, third is you can say it as callable statement interface. So I'll be going through the first two interfaces and the next will be seen at the later half. Now what is statement interface, we'll see today. So just now I said that statement is an interface, right? So how to check that thing means directly you have to open the Java P space Java dot lang, instead of lang you can say SQL dot statement. Okay, so here in this thing we have like directly written here what is statement. Statement is a interface, you can see that, right? And after that two methods mostly used. Out of the two methods you can say execute query and execute update. These are the two methods which are used to send the commands. Okay, one is what? Execute update, whose return type is int. Another thing is what? Execute query, whose return type is result set. Okay, so here I said two types of factory methods are there. One is instance factory method, second is static factory method. Get connection is a static factory method whose return type is a connection, right? So what you can say here, get connection static factory method, simple. And that's the first factory method you can say. For name is also a factory method because it returns the class, but we are not using that particular class. We are just shifting the Oracle driver class from secondary memory to primary memory or hard disk to RAM, right? Now if I want to use these methods, like what are the methods I said? Execute query and execute update, right? So two methods are there in the statement interface. What are those two methods? First is execute update, you can say. In this the parameter is string. Every time whenever you see a new method, make sure the parameters are of what type? and the return type is of what type. So here the parameter is a string, the return type is a int. Simple. Now there's a first method you can say. Second thing, here we have execute update, and next thing will be execute query. Again the parameter will be string itself. In this scenario, the return type will be a string. So what's happening? Sorry, it's not a string, it's a result set. So what's happening here? Execute query particular return type is nothing but a result set. Result set is again a interface. So execute query is a particular factory method, right? And you can see it's not static given anywhere for the execute query. So it's not static factory method, right? It's a instance factory method. Okay. Now, which can be called using statement type of object, means either you can use a subclass object, because statement is nothing but an interface for which we can't create the object. Then how to create the subclass object for the statement is nothing but, at present I have only one object in my hand. What's that object? Connection you can say, because just now we have created a connection object, and by using this connection object I have to call the methods, like we have the connection java dot sql dot connection. So in this connection, if you see, we'll be having create statement, prepare statement, and prepare call. Three things are available, right? So at present we need create statement only. I'll just concentrate on that create statement itself. Now here the create statement return type is what? Statement. Means when I call this factory method, it will return the subclass object of statement. So every time for the abstract or the particular interface we can't create the object, but subclass object can be created and can be referenced by the superclass reference, and it throws a SQL exception. Okay, so I have create statement method in which particular interface? Connection. So already we have the connection object, right? So connection interface has, what you can say, a method known as create statement. C small and S capital, it's a method, and you can see the method parameter is empty, so I'm not passing anything here. And now the return type will be statement itself. So when I call this create statement, I'll get the statement object. Simple thing. So how to call the create statement? By using connection object. How I got the connection object? By using this driver manager get connection. So if you see here, we are not using any new keyword. All factory methods are used. One is static factory method, second is instance factory method. So in advanced Java, from here onwards, we don't use a new keyword for predefined objects. We directly use this particular factory methods. Okay, and which are of two types, known as instance factory method and static factory method. Now I have connection object, so I'll use this connection object to call connection, sorry, create statement. So what's the return type of create statement? It's a statement, right? So I'll declare it as statement st equals to con dot create statement. So st is a reference again now, and now by using con dot create statement we can call it. But why I'm calling this method create statement? In order to call either execute update and execute query. So why we need this execute update or execute query? To send the SQL commands from Java application to the database. So in DML, if you remember, DML is nothing but data manipulation language. Is a voice speaking loudly?
Yeah, voice is breaking.
అందరికి అలానే అవుతుందా?
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Others, is a voice breaking to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Just looking into it. So how much time it has been? Like which concept I was telling? ఎక్కడి నుంచి బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది?
స్టేట్మెంట్ క్రియేట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ దగ్గర నుంచి. అంటే దానికి ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేశారు కదా, అక్కడ నుంచి బ్రేక్ అయిపోయింది.
Okay. Now here like now is it proper or still breaking?
No, it's audible, right?
Okay, it's not breaking, right?
No.
Fine. So I'll just continue. So what I was saying that when we have this particular create statement, like con.create statement, we got an object. So what object you can say? That is statement object. And after the statement object, we have to call the methods. Why you are creating the statement object? To call execute update or execute query. So here execute update and execute query are used to transfer SQL commands to database from Java application to database. And already you know that DML means data manipulation language. In this it consists of insert, update and delete commands. Along with that we have select command also. So there are four types of like commands we have: insert, update, delete and select. Here if you categorize, insert, update, delete is nothing but storing the data, like affecting on the database table directly, right? And whereas select is nothing but to retrieve the values from the database. Just we are retrieving the values. Okay, it doesn't affect onto the table. It displays according to the user requirement. Now here for execute update, if you want to write insert, update or delete, we have to use this execute update method itself. We can't use anything else. Okay, so second thing, if you want to use select command, then for the select command we have to use execute query whose return type is a result set. Again it's a factory method, right? So first of all I want to use a simple thing known as insert. Before going to the insert, statement is a interface again, and again I got an object I'm seeing here. But what is this object? At present for the connection I had T4C connection object, right? The same way when I call this con dot create statement, T4C statement object is getting generated. That is the subclass object. So you should be aware of the object, how it's coming, what's that object name. Okay, so you can say statement object st, just directly here and just trying to display the st and save it, compile it now. On this particular thing. Okay, so it's got inserted, right? Sorry, it's got displayed that T4C statement object. This is a unique sequence, and this is T4C connection object. And now if you see the T4C statement, next we can call the execute update or execute query. But I want to insert first, right? So I'll call a method known as execute update whose return type is int. Why it is integer means if it is affecting the particular row, means the record is getting inserted successfully, it will return 1. The method will return 1. If the insert is not happening properly or there was some problem, then the return type will be 0. Okay, that's the reason why you're using a int as a return type. So now I'll call st.execute update. So what I have to pass here, insert into emp25. Why 25 itself means the database table name will also be emp25, right? Here it is emp25. So it has 3 columns, ID, name, salary. So I have to pass it from using this particular Java. So insert into values. Based on these values, here I'll give 1023, and for the string values in Java we use double quotes, whereas for the string values in Oracle we use single quotes every time. We don't use any double quote. So here I'll write single quote, that particular Rahul is an employee name, and salary. How much is the salary? You can say some 28,000. Okay, so just save this thing, just save the double quotes. Means this entire thing is a command now, which Java does not understand. అందుకే డేటాబేస్ వెండర్స్ డెవలప్ చేసిన మెథడ్లో నేను ఈ కమాండ్ అనేది పంపిస్తున్నాను. Means execute update understands the SQL commands, right? And here if I just say the return type is int res, means the result, if res not equals to 0, means what? Here it got inserted successfully, right? So what you can say, system dot out dot println. It just says that particular res, give that particular space, a record inserted, save that thing, java c space database connection dot java and java space database connection, right? So what I'm having here, one record inserted, that's it. So if you see here, I'll just have select star from emp25 again, and you can see that Rahul is getting inserted, 1023 Rahul and 28,000, right? So by using this we can insert the commands, right? And this res indicates that how many records has been inserted. Like if it's successful it will return 1, if it is not successful it will return 0. Okay, and if you see there are 3 values, I have given 3 values. Suppose sometimes you might carried away and just give another value, like suppose here I'm giving some 23 extra value, save this thing, compile again. So again it's not giving error here. Why? I have given 4 values and there are only 3 columns, right? But why the compiler is not giving any error means compiler does not understand the SQL commands, and that whatever you write the double quotes, compiler will not check it. Only that particular API will know, JDBC will know. So when you run this thing, you got an exception. What's that exception? You can say too many values are there. So whenever you're trying to insert more number of values, you will get too many values exception apart from the number of columns. And the most mistakes people do is nothing but remove that, like instead of giving the single quotes, just give the value directly. So first thing is clear, right? Too many values when you're not giving the values correctly. Again, you'll run this thing. So what we have, the database error, right? Column not allowed. Actually, it can't differentiate between Rahul and the name. Name is a column name or the Rahul is a column name. How to differentiate? We have to use the single quote itself, right? And also this particular 28,000 is the right. If I'm not giving the three values, only two values has been taken, right? So if I compile now again some exception will come. Errors doesn't come here. We get exception. What's that exception? You can say here, like here, quoted string is right. So if I compile and run now, I got exception saying not enough values. There are no enough values, you can say, right? So how many values you have to send? How many columns are there? That many values only you have to send. Any doubts? Right. So you understand this, right? So insert command can be used in order to, like, here the method is nothing but execute update is used to send the insert command into the database. Okay. And the next two commands will be update and delete. If you want to try, you can try them. Just try to send this program because most of you have not done the first program also. So try to complete the first connectivity, then the insert. Tomorrow I'll complete the update, delete and select three things at a time. Okay. So let's stop here, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me now. Is everything clear or you have any doubts? Fine. So try to do the programs. Mostly the connectivity program is done. Then ఆల్రెడీ నేను చెప్పాను కదా, ఒక 2 lines యాడ్ అయినాయి అంతే. ఆ కనెక్టివిటీ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత ఒక కనెక్షన్, ఒక అదే ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అప్డేట్ అనగానే, లైక్ క్రియేట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ అంటే ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ వచ్చింది, ఆ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ తోటి ఒక మెథడ్ని కాల్ చేశాను, వాల్యూస్ ఇన్సర్ట్ అయిపోయాయి. ఈ 2 lines ఇంపార్టెంట్ అంతే, ఇంకేం లేదు. ఓకే. అలానే ఇప్పుడు అప్డేట్ అయినా డిలీట్ అయినా ఇదే డబుల్ కోట్స్లో రాస్తాం, చేంజ్ అవ్వదు ఇంకా. జస్ట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ క్వైరీ అనే మెథడ్ యూజ్ చేసి సెలెక్ట్ అనేది రాయాలి. సో ఈ పైన ప్రోగ్రామ్ అంతా కామన్ ఇంకా అన్నిట్లో, ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఒరాకిల్. అదే MySQL అయితే మళ్ళీ చేంజ్ అవుతుంది. సో MySQL ఉంటే కనుక MySQLతో కూడా ట్రై చేయొచ్చు మీరు. ఓకే. అండ్ just complete the insert, update and delete if possible, or at least the insert command. Tomorrow I'll just say everything like select and the update and the delete. Right? Fine. So we'll stop here. I'll just send you the video also. Okay then. Bye.